How's it going, guys? It's Marcus. So the hour-long special Wanted just aired yesterday. By the way, some of the best 60 minutes of my life. If you haven't seen it yet, what are you doing with your life, man? But in the second episode of the special, The Trial, the pink diamond shattering situation was given a whole new outlook to me and I'm assuming a lot of people as well. Zircon, the lawyer, gave her defending statement saying it was impossible for Rose Quartz to shatter pink diamond all by herself, right outside of her palanquin with her entourage of gems with her. Saying, wouldn't her sapphires have seen Rose coming, wouldn't her agates try to fight her off, and wouldn't her pearl cry out in Pink Diamond's aid? Only someone who Pink Diamond trusted already and had the power to cover up the entire incident wouldn't have been able to pull this off. And then Zircon pointed at both Yellow and Blue Diamond and got poofed by Yellow Diamond shortly after. So when I first heard about the whole Rose shattering Pink Diamond debacle, I thought there was, maybe a 50-50 chance she did it. But as time went on, I started to believe more and more that she did do it, especially after I saw That Will Be All and Storm in the Room. However, after watching the trial and hearing Zircon's defending statement, I'm damn near 100% convinced Rose didn't do it. It's crazy how the Crooniverse has been changing my feelings about Rose so much, For a while, I praised her as, an all-loving gem goddess who did nothing but help others and was just, an all-around good being. Then after I found out about the shattering, I thought she was, kind of a snake at first, but then changed her ways. And now I'm back to how I originally felt about her, after finishing Wanted. So many emotions. So the question remains, who did it? Which one of the higher-ups or the Diamonds had the audacity to shatter one of her own sisters? I think it's safe to assume Blue is out of the question based on, how we've seen her act when it comes to Pink Diamond and the mention of Pink Diamond. She willingly went to Earth on her own to mourn over Pink's death in Steven's dream. She decided to keep Pink Diamond Zoo up and running over the years, as well as, keep her hundreds of Rose Quartz gems in bubbles as a memento to Pink, instead of shattering them. And during the trial, she was much more focused on, getting to the bottom of the whole situation, getting to the bottom of the shattering, and trying to figure out the facts, whereas Yellow just wanted to see Steven shattered, so everything could be quote-unquote settled. Now, Yellow Diamond seems much more suspicious than Blue Diamond does. If you remember her reactions in the trial, she was super on edge and trying to silence Zircon while Zircon was making her defending statement, yelling at Zircon saying,
"Where were Pink Diamond's attendants? Her agates? Her sapphires? And where was her pearl?"
They were with her, of course. They saw the whole thing.
And as Zircon proved more and more that Rose isn't the culprit, she was poofed after she accused one of the Diamonds of being Pink Shatterer. Even after Steven and Lars were trying to escape in Blue Diamond's palanquin, Yellow was yelling at Blue saying the entire thing was pointless and they should just shatter Steven and, be done with the whole thing. Only someone with a guilty conscience would be acting this way. Poofing the lawyers and suddenly saying the trial was pointless because Rose was, potentially being proven not guilty. But at the same time, it doesn't seem like Yellow is completely evil. She was the one who's saying, "What's the use of feeling blue?" back in That Will Be All, and she seemed pretty genuine, anytime she referenced Pink Diamond during the song. Especially at the end of the song when she's saying,
Yes, of course we still love her, and we're always thinking of her. Don't you know I miss her too?
And you see her look off into the distance with a very sad face. I guess one could argue that she was putting on an act the entire time while she was singing just to get Blue on her side, but I feel like that might be a little bit of a reach. So if Yellow seems innocent as well as Blue, that leaves big bad White Diamond. Anytime I think of White Diamond now, I start to think of Madara Uchiha. If you watched all of Naruto, Madara had such a big build-up throughout the series, and when he finally made his grand entrance in the present day, he was so OP and amazing to watch. And even before he got revived, you could just sense his presence being built up throughout the series. Remember when Sasuke and Naruto fought in the Valley of the End and we saw the statues of Hashirama and Madara for the first time? I felt the same way seeing those statues as I did when I saw White Diamond's, temple-esque building on Homeworld when Steven and Lars began to plummet from the sky in Blue Diamond's palanquin. You can just sense the feeling of power and evil from just the small instances White Diamond has been shown. She's the diamond at the top of the Diamond Authority symbol and the diamond with the most colonies under her belt. But why would a diamond shatter another diamond? What is the reasoning? Well, I think that even though Pink was, going to colonize Earth, she was definitely going through with it. I don't think White Diamond liked the fact that Pink Diamond decided to keep humans around in her zoo. I think White Diamond wanted the entire human race to be destroyed so there wouldn't be any risk of the Earth colony backfiring. Then, White decided to take drastic measures just to be safe and decided to shatter the head honcho of the Earth colony. But the fact that Yellow Diamond seemed to be covering up the truth during the trial means Yellow must have saw White Diamond in the act and, had to keep her mouth shut. She had to put her position as a leader over her feelings for her fallen sister. And these two kept the truth from Blue all these years because Blue was the closest one to Pink Diamond and they didn't want Blue to think ill of them. And I can't forget about Eyeball either. So either Eyeball has just really bad eyesight and thought it was Rose Quartz actually doing the dirty deed, even though it wasn't her, or she saw White Diamond shatter Pink and they had to threaten Eyeball to keep her mouth shut and just pin the blame on Rose. And lastly, don't you think it was a little suspicious for White Diamond not to show up to the trial of her fallen sister? You know, probably felt a little bit too guilty of killing her. Yeah, that is going to be it for this video, though. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to leave a like down below if you enjoyed. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. And I will see you guys next time. Peace out. Take care. Bye-bye.